that segues perfectly into well, actually, first of all, Ben, how do you like the new look that we got here going on here? I don't know if you can see it.
I like it. No, I can't really see it on there, but I have it pulled it up on YouTube on my phone. Now that I'm not using my phone, and yeah, I like that.
But there's a lot. The lower third's coming back, but it's going to be dynamic, and I can pull it off and on and all that kind of stuff. So that segues perfectly into my topic, which is a very lazy topic. In fact, if you're clicking on this in post, likely I've titled it something a little bit enticing, you could say, not clickbait, because I'm about to remove the clickbait portion of it right now by saying the podcast is doing well. In fact, I'm very optimistic about the future of the podcast. So if you're worried because of the title that I put on top of this segment,
what is the title going to be? It made me sound like something evil.
if it's like I don't know yet. Maybe it'll be something like the future of this podcast ... which people usually assume something negative, but it's actually positive. This is a positive thing going forward. So yeah, I didn't really have time to come up with something smart or coherent or interesting or timely or anything like that. So mostly because I've been working on this podcast and other stuff and kind of neglected other stuff to work on this podcast. So I had to do that earlier today. If you didn't know, I work for another podcast. Actually work for another podcast. If you want to check them out and say that I sent you, it's StarQuest. Just look up StarQuest Media if you want, and you'll find some awesome podcasts over there too. But I want to talk about in my segment the future of this podcast, kind of and how it intertwines with the future of what I'm doing, and maybe that'll interest you. So keep listening if you're interested. So the first thing that's happening for me is basically I'm like taking a huge transition step with my personal career. So for people who don't know, I went to college for computer engineering, which was a big mistake. A degree in which I don't use at all anymore. It was useful for one thing. I got my first job in the defense industry at a great company called SciTech. So I would recommend if you are into engineering and you want to work at a great company, you can look up SciTech if you want. But it wasn't for me. Nothing to do with the job. Job was great. Flexibility was great. Couldn't complain on that level. But it just, I'm a filmmaker. I'm a entrepreneurial type. It was driving me insane. So ended up quitting after saving tons of money. Just kind of hoarded cash. Got married. Am now in New York, where my wife is studying in med school. And I started my own company called Ariella, which I was sort of doing on the side while I was working before, which was useful. But ever since I've been kind of doing, my goal with my company has been basically to create an actual company, something that exponentiates, something that's beyond me, bigger. There's a lot of different avenues that I won't bore you with that I've tried to do that. Some more successful than others, as you expect with any business. But one thing that has been bugging me as of late is I spend a lot of my time doing other people's work, which is like not, it pays, right? To do other people's work, but it's becoming sort of onerous. Is that the word? Is that a good vocab word? Is that a $2 word? I don't know.
Word?
Onerous? Did I say that right?
I don't even know.
You're adding an extra R, onerous.
Onerous. There it goes. There it goes. I promise I'm smart. But it's becoming just annoying to sort of juggle from task to task to task and not seeing how things would actually exponentiate. If you're thinking about creating a business, you have to at some point offload the productivity that you're able to create and systematize it, make it bigger, make it beyond you, right? You don't want to create a job. The common phrase is you don't want to create a job for yourself. You want to create a business. And I feel like I've been sort of in this rut of being in a business. Oh, hello. We've got someone in the chat. Welcome, Luna. Yeah, words are hard. Thanks for being on here. So what
that's my friend. That's crazy.
Oh, hey. I'm surprised that you're actually here because of our terrible start today.
Yeah, usually we end by now. And like half an hour ago.
Exactly. But basically, I've been like doing a lot of contract work. I became basically a freelancer. Very little time to work on stuff that actually developed the business on the back end, on the front end, on every end. Developed the brand. It became so much so that I stopped doing what got me further and further. Cool, got recommended. That's awesome. Yeah, smash the like button. um, but yeah, so that's where I was at, and it was all useful. Don't regret any of it. Did a lot of fun stuff. Created a portfolio that I can now use going forward. Learned a lot myself. A lot of confidence building and all that kind of stuff. But I'm kind of past that now. People say their first 2 years as a business is usually, the worst. You're always negative. I'm in the hole. I have to be in the hole because as I, get jobs, I need to get equipment using the money that I got from that job to get me a better job, that kind of thing. And that's an expected thing. You calculate for it. And in fact, if you're not in the hole for many years, you're probably doing it wrong because you're not being tax advantaged properly. That's a whole different story. Go ahead.
A lot of I think this differs in the game industry because a lot of like indie devs, because of the way, like if you have a publisher, a lot of the ways that the publisher contracts work is like, oftentimes outside of the game dev industry, investments like, I'll give you this much money, right? And then I expect it to be returned, or or it might be like essentially like it's essentially a debt, right? That you get to pay off eventually. Whereas in like game dev, it's more common for it to be like, I give you this money and you give me a percentage such that you will never actually lose money. You know what I'm saying? This is not always the case, obviously. It also tends to be a thing with larger publishers because those are the companies, there are like two types of publishers, right? There's like the ones that like want to see you succeed and stuff like that, right? And those are the kinds that'll give you that kind of thing, but they're hard to get into. And there's the ones that are like shovelware, right? They're like, I'm just hoping something sticks, right? But they might have more devious clauses in their contracts to cover, to make up for the losses that they'll have from essentially publishing bad games for a lot.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's interesting because so I'm in New York, which is I think, at first seemed like a good idea. I don't personally. I'm not enjoying this experience anymore, mostly because cost of living is kind of dragging me down and a whole bunch of other issues with work and stuff like that. But the interesting thing is I don't know how I would have gotten here without doing it the way that I have been doing, which is not a bad thing, kind of reflect on it. I mean, you learn a lot, but it's it's very easy. I told myself in the beginning, I don't want to create a job for myself. I don't want to create like a rat race, in which I'm a freelancer forever. And that's kind of what ended up happening, almost what it felt like necessity. But going forward, it's like, okay, well, I've got all the sort of pieces I need. My spending can go down quite drastically because, I mean, actually, you can't see, but behind me, I've got tons of packages of stuff I just ordered. Maybe I'll do that in a different Mixed Media episode and go through my Black Friday goodies. In fact, you might see a video about that on my channel soon, on my Ariella channel, because I'm starting that back up. Kind of part of the good stuff, good changes going on here. But yeah, so I was just like, okay. The real thing that needs to happen here in order for Ariella to become something bigger is I need to focus on stuff that I know that I'm good at with regards to my business. When I was posting very regularly, when I was when I was rocking the YouTube and all that kind of stuff, I was doing much better than I think I realized after doing marketing for other people. And I appreciated how well I was doing pre sort of like taking a hiatus from working on my own company stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take time now and I'm just going to go back to doing my own stuff. And that way I can own the output of my work and become more of a business, right? So, doing YouTube, I own all of that. I own my content. I own my brand. I own everything. It's not, I just put in the work and then, I get paid once and then I'm done. Now I start to create something lasting that hopefully exponentiates. Hopefully I can hire someone. I can tell you my biggest advice is the moment you can offload work, to someone, an employee, is the moment you should. Like, don't hesitate. Do it immediately. Delegating tasks is like the way you become a business. And one of my problems, I don't have access to enough debt to do that securely. So I'm trying to do a whole bunch of things. Whatever. Topics for other days. But this all affects the podcast, which is what I'm really excited about at the end of the day, is that this all affects the podcast because phone is at 5%. So if I disappear, that is why. We'll add to another technical difficulty that's happened today. So the podcast will be affected by that in a positive way. As you can see, the layout's different, but hopefully I spent this whole week, more or less, maybe 80% of my time this week, sort of trying to flesh out new podcast features. There's many more than the stuff that you're seeing right now. Just a lot of the stuff I need to go through testing and baking in and a whole bunch of stuff. There's some cool voiceover work that I think we've heard to sort of bring up the production quality of the podcast, make it a little bit more fun, and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully bring the profile of the live show up, which is the goal there. But also a ton of expansion. So right now, if you're on our Discord, we're actually streaming there live, which is pretty cool. And if you're not on the Discord, there's a link in the description where you can go check out our Discord and join us as we have ongoing conversations about film, gaming, music, whatever. And there's actually a live chat where you can listen in audio only if you'd like. Hopefully I'll have the video up there as well soon. And you can listen to low bandwidth, in your car and stuff like that, and have a lot less issues than trying to listen to us on YouTube or something like that.
Is there something I needed to do with that?
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
That's the magic, is I routed everything from the live editor into Discord, which was quite an endeavor. But
good to know.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it clean and simple, and we have all our post audio in and everything, so everything is good. So yeah, now we're on Discord, but the expansion is going to be like ginormous. I have plans to go to Clubhouse. I have plans to expand to some of the more the ones that I originally.
Am I wrong about that?
Say again?
Is Clubhouse dying, or am I wrong about that?
Dying or died?
Oh, either one.
I don't know. I still see a lot of Clubhouse links going around, so I'm not 100% sure. It seems like a little bit of a fad, but if it's not too hard to put together, then I'll do it anyway. See what happens. Yeah, on Clubhouse, maybe make a mixed media Twitter. I vehemently despise Twitter, if you didn't know, but it seems like the natural place to go for mixed media, as we have hot takes a lot. That's kind of what goes viral on Twitter all the time. That's what gets shared a lot. I guess I'll contribute to, I don't know, some stuff there, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But it also has a live function. Planning on going to LinkedIn and stuff like that. Yeah, Facebook. Pretty much as many places as we can be. I think that's how we function the best. And I think I can integrate everything so that everyone can see each other's comments, which is kind of a new thing. If you're on Twitch right now, you're actually seeing the YouTube comments pop up in Twitch. So all this kind of stuff is trying to create a much more active and vibrant live community. Right now, we don't have that many viewers because of how bad our launch was today and how poorly the run-up to the launch was today. So our total view count is quite drastically lower than it was not last week because we were out last week, but the week before that.
I mean, we have one person commenting, right? So that's better than last time.
That's true. Yeah, most of the time no one's talking. So thank you, Luna, for interacting with us. But yeah, so
What's the problem? We have like the silent Rumble folk, bro. Like they don't.
Yeah. Right now, no one's talking on Rumble. No one's on Rumble. Like,
we have two commenters.
Oh, sweet. Hey, Ron Wolf. Hello. I'm new here.
Let's go.
I'm interested to know how you guys play to monitor all these channels for live engagement. I can only imagine the multi-display setup. Oh, it's a spaghetti of different things. to make this work. Maybe if you want, Ron, if you join us on Discord, if you join our Discord and you send me a DM, if you want to know for your own purposes, I'll sit down with you and I'll just walk you through how we put this together. If you wanted to know for your own purposes.
What a clever way to disguise a Discord advertisement.
You got to grift. You got to grift sometimes, but no, but yeah. It's a whole bunch of things going on. I use vMix as my sort of hub for everything. That's my live editor, but there's a whole bunch of random third-party software also making everything work, which is kind of painful, but I think is worth it. Oh, thanks for the comment, Luna. I really appreciate that. Yeah, see, I like people like Luna. You know why? This is a very casual conversation we have right now. Usually we're talking about really lengthy topics. But I can say this now is, it's great to see people commenting in the chat, because what it helps us do is have confidence in ourselves, but also it helps us to know where to go with our podcast. So knowing that it's something nice to listen to the background is already data that I didn't have before. Maybe I had very few data points to go off of. Now I have another one, So thank you. I appreciate that. That drastic expansion, and then drastic expansion of post stuff as well. So expanding where we post our podcast afterwards. So right now we're really great on the audio only side. We have pretty much every podcasting platform you can think of, minus SoundCloud, because they have a terrible business model. That's very annoying. So I've posted some things on SoundCloud, but then it's very irritating. But maybe eventually. But pretty much everywhere else we're on podcasting. But there's other places that we could be for video. One that comes to mind that's sort of an up-and-coming platform is Odyssey. There's a few others out there that I can't think of off the top of my head. But I'm sure it'll be a fun time figuring that out. So yeah, and then the final thing is the format of the show, the sort of whole total audio visual aesthetic of the show is going to drastically, right now, like I said, this is sort of, you're looking at and listening to sort of a pre-alpha sort of, version of the show. This is not really the final form. I just wanted to test a few things like this main outlet, main look and stuff like that. But there's going to be stingers, like transitions from spot to spot, audio transitions, increased interactivity with stuff you can see on the screen. We've had many problems. We're going to have a problem in the moment when we do arguing with Reddit, where the thing that we put up on the screen doesn't have a home, right? I've solved that problem. I'm just not ready for that today. So it'll be like that today as well. But you'll eventually be able to have a much cleaner experience watching and listening. Hopefully figure out how to upgrade our audio better, especially in post. I kind of dread splitting live and post audio, but it might be necessary. We'll see. And hopefully ditching Skype. And if you have an idea as to what platform would sound better than Skype does and allow me to have a much, much, much more stable Skype experience, then just let me know. So yeah, those are some of the plans. And then on the community front, one thing that's really cool is we have a locals page. It's kind of an advert for our support page, but also I just wanted to take time to properly go through what that means, because I don't know that people understand the potential if we grow our community of our exclusive page. So, and this is stuff that might change going forward and blah, blah, blah. We'll see. Our locals page is pretty cool because when you support us there, right now it's on sale, $3 a month. And I think I'm going to keep that until the end of the year. So $3 a month to support us and get a whole bunch of perks. But one of those perks is getting your independent work reviewed. So if you're an independent artist of any kind that we could speak to, we'll make a whole mixed media episode where we have a segment spotlighting your work, discussing your work, giving you honest, good critiques, always positive, not positive in a way that we're not telling you what you might need to work on or what our true opinions are, but positive in the way that we're not tearing your work down, right? We're not providing a tear down service for entertainment or something like that. This is more an honest reflection.
Yeah, I will say that the segments like that we've done so far have been my favorite, both to do and to listen to.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. So, if you make games, I think that's a little bit weirder for Dathan to implement. But
For sure.
but if you give him a free key, if it's on Steam or something like that, or if you give it to him in some way, I'm sure we'll figure it out one way or another in order how to present it to you and all that.
Free game.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you make music, or if you make short films, or I know I can also review photography and branding and graphic design, and we have a whole list of things. I think it's on our locals of the things that we can look at. And if we can't look, if we can't look at, we'll tell you. And if worst comes to worst, I can refund you if that's not possible. So that perk alone, to support us for $3 a month, and really you could just join for $3 and quit. After we review your thing, you just have to be a member while we review your thing. That's the only caveat. And you could do that, and you could help support the channel's growth as we expand. But the other cool stuff is that this live whiteboard right here on the side of the screen, that you can have access to as a member as well. But that's current stuff. Future stuff. So actually, here, I'll demonstrate that real quick because it's not obvious what I mean. I can draw right here on my iPad, and you can see it come up like that. And you guys can draw too. If you guys are artists, so you want to meme on us or like have fun or whatever, you can draw on that too and have a lot of fun. Okay, but the future of this thing can be pretty cool if we can expand our community, and that's something that's exciting to me. So one thing, because I'm returning to YouTube with my own channel with Ariella, is I'll need my own sort of premium community as well, but we can combine forces here. Like what I mean is like my Ariella, sort of Patreon sort of experience on locals could be just the same thing as mixed media, and combine the two. And that way, when you join for mixed media, the mixed media locals page, you're also getting the perks for my Ariella stuff. And perhaps, I mean, we have to discuss this, obviously, us three, but perhaps when y'all make stuff, the future, we can combine them into one channel.
I said I would have a channel on the way. I don't think I said on stream, but yeah, that is I think it's supposed to happen. I just have had like zero time these past weeks, so but yeah, it'll be about synthesizers and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that if we can grow the community here on Mixed Media and the channel does well, my own channel does well, then I have no problem getting live on locals only, just for the local patrons once a week, for those who support for $3 a month, and giving you a complete rundown on economics, of the week, once a week. Because for my Ariella people, that makes a lot of sense. And I've also talked about, various things that I think independent artists need to understand about economics and business and all that kind of stuff here on the podcast. It doesn't fully live here on the podcast. It doesn't fully make sense here on the podcast. So I think that makes even better as like a perk, that you can go get and enjoy sort of in post, and the only place you can get it is there. So yeah, and then there's like festival opportunities where we can put together, like an online film festival or a game jam Nathan has talked about as well, where we can sort of put that together so that, we can have a little virtual experience here on the channel live, and we can make it glitzy and glammy and potentially even give out prizes and stuff like that, have a prize pool, figure something out. I think it could be really cool. So that's all to say is that I'm hyped. I'm hyped for the channel. I'm hyped for the podcast. I'm hyped for the future here. I think we have a good thing going. I think the biggest problem with growth, the reason it's been such a slow trickle, is just being able to pour in enough time and invest enough time into it, and really, give it the attention it deserves. Because when people find us organically, it's usually pretty good. So, we usually get good feedback and people are happy with what we do. And honestly, we just enjoy it anyway. I think you guys enjoy it too. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to talk about in my segment. Not a usual segment at all. But this was sort of a lazy way to get around the fact that I didn't have time to prepare this week. So there's that.
You managed to, I think, be longer than my segment, despite it not being a normal segment.
You see, I'm a long-winded person. If you're new here, you'll have known that, or you wouldn't have known that, and now you learned. I'm a long-winded person.
Yeah, you're probably better than I am. I mean, just...
No. I seriously like overtalk so much. When I go back and edit, I cut out the most like bunny trails from my own stuff for the post podcast. So I'm well aware.
I mean, yeah, but I probably just talk too long in general. Like, so I'll probably all relevant, but is it? I don't know.
You can't confirm. You can be.
Look, ironically, you have the best shorts. So I think that means, I don't know. I think that means you're saying the right things.
Yeah. Oh no, my okay. I'm gonna be frozen on the screen for the remainder of the podcast until I go plug my phone back in. That's the other thing that's gonna be upgraded, by the way, is I'm getting an A7 IV. I'm so excited about it. And that has the ability to be a webcam. So I'm gonna have really high quality, pristine. I'm even not gonna have lighting. I've got some tube lights behind me, and that I'm excited to put up some beautiful lighting for my little desk setup, both for the YouTube channel and the podcast. So. Yeah, and my producer wife, that's who's in the comments there, Stephanie England, she says that she can confirm that I'm long-winded. And she's not just talking about the podcast, I'm just long-winded in life. So there's that. Anything else we need to say about the podcast? I don't know.
Nothing I think about, no. You got everything pretty much.
Cool.
I will say the voice actor sounds pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I gotta hear this.
Oh yeah, definitely get hype.
That's interesting because you got off Fiverr, and that's relevant to my arguing with Reddit post.
Ooh, and that's a great segue.
Okay.
into our next segment,